Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the CGL Season 13 playoffs. It's the lower finals of the NA Diamond tier between IUPUI, Bastion OF, and Mythos Griffins. MegaLass, you ready to get this one rolling?
Absolutely. Both these teams started off our diamond bracket against each other. Bastion OF, they pulled off a massive upset, in pretty resounding fashion here, but now they find themselves both in the lower finals looking for that ticket to Grands. And I mean, yeah, this bracket kind of tells you exactly how things have been going here. Lots of 3-0s. It would you could almost predict this series to go a 3-0 for either of these teams based on how they've matched up previously, both here and in the regular season. But I'm hoping maybe there's a little bit of a cook here. Maybe we can go the extra distance, get a good series in between these two squads.
Yeah, I think it's possible we get more than a 3-map series here for sure. I mean, Mythos Griffins, the second seed in this tournament. Very good regular season. I believe they went 7-1 in the regular season, with their only loss being to Cogent, who is like unapologetically dominant in this diamond tier at the moment. And then IUPUI, a little bit worse in the regular season. I don't actually have the number off the top of my head of their record.
I think it was like 4-4 overall. It could be 5-3.
So, middle of the pack, but then they come into this tournament swinging, punching up to Mythos Griffins, getting that upset, moving on to the upper finals. So now that they're in this lower finals after a loss to Cogent, this will be an interesting one, because I do think that they definitely probably caught Mythos Griffins off guard in that first match, and now they've had a little time to breathe, a little time to reflect on what happened in that first match, and you got to expect that Mythos is a little more prepared.
Yeah, I mean, if memory serves me well, though, I believe, what got Bastion, the thing towards that upset. We were still in the Orisa meta, but they seem to be leaning towards the Ramatra even back then. And now with the death of Orisa after this little mini patch we had a few days ago, I mean, we've just seen more and more Ramatra as time has gone on. This tank, it really is starting to take over the meta in terms of just the most survivable, tank at the moment, able to do so much, closing the distance once in that range, using the Nemesis form to its full potential, and I'm expecting to see that sort of matchup from both these squads here. So it'll be on Mythos Griffins to prove, again, that they do deserve to be the number 2 seed, but really, I mean, it can be a coin toss either way with these two teams.
Yeah. It's I don't know, because we talked about it a little bit. Cogent is a full step above everybody else. And Mythos Griffins, we kind of thought that they were going to have this punching power that they just kind of lacked at the beginning. They got their feet back under them against Emerald in that first round of the lower bracket, and you see Leo Leopard, DKK on the DPS, 5s on the tank, and Mox and Big Ripper on the back line. They are hoping to get their get back tonight against Bastion.
Yeah, I mean, this is a solid squad here. I mean, they earned that, seeding for a reason, but, Bastion, OF, they stepped up in a big way, and they're going to be looking to do it here again. Potatoizer and Drowsy on your DPS line, Spotted Squid being the ever-reliable tank, and then Lupinus and Teddygram being those supports to really facilitate everything that all of these characters want to do. And yeah, I mean, we're probably going to see some sort of different styles poke back and forth here across, whatever maps we end up going to, here in the lower divisions. You tend to see compositions get a little bit creative, right? We're not as hard tuned to a meta per se. If somebody's just really damn good on a hero, they can sort of just play it. So I'm very just, keen to see exactly what we're going to be rolling with, because I've gotten word correctly. Yeah, Samoa is going to be our first map pick, not the common Nepal.
Nothing but Nepal is common, right? And I feel like Samoa is comfortably sitting in the back seat as far as control maps go. If it's not Nepal, it's usually not Samoa. So it's a really interesting map. It does kind of lean into the same, at least in my opinion, the same strengths of like a Lijiang Tower or Nepal, where the rush is kind of that better composition type. And, I'd be interested to see anything else. If we see anything else than the Ramatra, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that both of these teams are probably just going to be happy to say, hey, let's run Arms Guy, and we'll just run it down,
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it also just comes down to the fact of what, the rest of the meta is around that tank hero, right? Tracer, Sojourn, both been extremely strong DPS picks. You're seeing some sort of upswing here with the Cassidy, versus the Sojourn, as well as, a little bit of echo play, but really it's just kind of centered around those DPS, which require, the rest of the composition around to be either more mobile to match that pace or more sustainable. Meanwhile, in the support category, I mean, it's been Lucio, it's been Kiri. Even in, you could play it in bronze, like at this point, right? Kiriko been so unbelievably overpowered since her launch. At no point have you ever picked Kiri and been like, gosh, you're hindering the team. And Lucio, ever since, most of those Season 9 changes come through, if you've seen a really big upswing in our favorite Frog. And I mean, hey, Lucio players can turn fights, right? That surprise damage you can put out and things of that nature. That being said, though, the other, support we've seen glimpses of here and there is the Baptiste, right? It provides more healing, has that immortality field there if teams want to throw it out. Obviously not as, escapable as the Kiriko, but can definitely still provide value here. That's why Mythos Griffins, they're choosing to run out on it with a Sigma composition to boot, so they're going to be poking their opponents at range. Meanwhile, Bastion OF, it's going to be a teleport out from spawn before probably over to the Tracer, if I had to imagine. And so they're playing kind of similar to a standard meta, but with a Zarya in tow. This could be a counter read of knowing Mythos Griffins running out on the Sigma.
All right, here we go. It will be Volcano where we start out on this rematch from earlier in the playoffs. Leo Leopard takes a couple of shots here from Drowsy, dealing a lot of damage, that is, on this Cassidy pick. The positioning on the point comes in from IUPUI. They're going to find the first flip, but nobody has gone down just yet. DKK going to hit a good shot there into the Potatoizer, but not going to find any follow-up damage there. That's just free healing coming in from Lupin and Teddygram. They're building up to these ults very, very quickly. All four of the supports are. So I imagine that this fight is all about getting those support ultimates up first, as Ripa 93%, very, very low, but very, very close. Does not get the Coalescence off. Spotted Squid has the Gravitic Flux ready to go, and Drowsy deciding this fight is over. Mythos Griffins gonna find the picks, and they're gonna get the flip, but 33% for IUPUI.
Yeah, Mythos Griffins, they had to give respective fives at the start of that fight. Extremely high charge on the Zarya, but after, you stop shooting those bubbles, that charge eventually does come down. And, once they lack that sort of frontline presence, fives had to hide back. It allowed Drowsy to sort of come in, be the hero, get rid of the backline. So now, Bastion OF, they have to play fast and get in here.
Sound barrier in response to the gravitic flux, and with that amplification matrix out from Lupin, there's going to be a little bit of hesitation, but Fives decides this isn't worth our time and just walks right through the window there, and Drowsy, very, very low, gets the healing from Lupin there and able to stay alive in the face of the Tracer. Leopard not quite able to take them down as the Deadeye is massive for Drowsy. DKK taken down, and Magnetic Grenade will not find a target, and Leo Leopard finally able to track down the kill and the fight. While it will be Mythos Griffins just trying to stagger this out, the sound barrier too late. They're just trying to get this extra percentage.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not necessarily over yet here.
Whoa.
Both teams having to invest back and forth, but I guess Fives in the end. I mean, that's the thing, right? That tactical visor, it sounds super threatening, right? But it is only 20 damage per bullet. And sure, you can fire out as many bullets as you want, but if Fives is standing in front of you with a bubble in the back pocket, you know, just being super healthy, it's not going to do much. Heading into the next one, though, Mythos Griffins, there's an Orisa on the field now, potentially going back to tried and true here, but pushing into the Zarya, that's going to be rough.
Overclock from DKK, pushed back by Spotted Squids. Spear there as they switch over to the Orisa. DKK trying to find something, and the damage does get followed up on. Pulse Bomb is out from Leopard. The ground finds Potatoizer, and Fives cleans up the rest.
Just amazing there from the Tracer in the backline doing the damage needed. Mythos Griffins, I mean, it's a really interesting adaptation, right, to go over to this Orisa. It's showing that you're trying to focus down targets in another location, but the Zarya beam damage, right, it can burst through a lot of what Orisa has in terms of sustainability. Heading towards final fight here for IUPUI, they really, you know, Mythos Griffins, they have to be able to figure something out, let this fight go long enough to get an amplification matrix up for Lupinus.
Alright, Coalescence out from Ripa to try and deal the damage, get the healing. The former is there for Ripa, 2 on the Coalescence, and the Amp Matrix will not be enough to force Mythos Griffins into the win column here on the Samoa Volcano. First map over to IUPUI.
Yeah, the Mythos Griffins, they're feeling a little bit, sort of stuck in the past, right? Going over to that Orisa, as well as having the Reaper and things of that nature. I mean, sure, you can find ways to pressure down the Zarya, but it's not going to work out as confidently for you. But here, now that we're off of Volcano, right, maybe you can close that distance a little bit more, get a better initial fight as we continue to head through the rest of Samoa here. But, I mean, the downtown, it's not necessarily that much better, right? The Orisa's still going to have to find a way to sort of path and take angles that the Moira's not expecting. It's going to be an interesting matchup.
All right, here we go. IUPUI confident in their abilities coming out. Mythos Griffins going to go back over to their poke composition with the Sigma from Spotted Squid. It looked good on Volcano. Just fell short a little bit, so we will see if they're going to be able to get the job done this time as they take the high ground here. Not a whole lot of high ground to be spoken of here on this map, but they're trying to keep control of what little there is. Fives throwing out that bubble, getting that charge built up very, very early here. Does have those bubbles still ready to go, and Teddy Graham cannot escape the grasp of Ripa. And the damage is being dealt so thoroughly by IUPUI, and despite losing Mox here, it should be IUPUI taking this first flip here on downtown. As I say that, Spotted Squid's able to get DKK taken out, and in the backline, Leopard not able to escape. So in a reversal of events here, Mythos Griffins are going to be the first ones to get the flip.
Yeah, I mean, Fives was dropping incredibly low, so they couldn't necessarily fight into that one, so now you're seeing more stagger kills come out here for Mythos Griffins. But, I mean, the fact that, you know, in that tank where you weren't able to go stand toe-to-toe with Squid just because your health was dropped incredibly low, it allowed the Sigma to do as they pleased. But now you're seeing Bastion, they're going over to the Reinhardt here, trying to close that distance, you know, swing that hammer onto this thing. Good concept, but I mean, Drowsy already has a good counter with the Mei up and online.
Alright, wall is out, gotta play safe for IUPUI, and Fives very, very low. You see that shield can block a lot of damage, but not if you're getting shot at from behind it. The Immortality Field will save the life of Spotted Squid here in the face of the Coalescence, but without Fives in the fight, there's really just nothing that IUPUI can do.
No, and you know, Mythos Griffins, they're cycling this beautifully right now. Too many ultimates having been invested at this point. Only the Amplification Matrix had to be used. So now, you know, heading on into the next one, they've secured themselves a solid advantage here. If they realize it, you know, Spotted Squid already has a Gravitic Flux online. Mox does not have that sound barrier as of just yet. So that can be an opening to a quick, you know, fight for them to win.
Alright, Fives decided to hit the charge button there. While Spotted Squid does have that Gravitic Flux, it's going to come out. It's going to only hit the Sojourn, and the cleanse from Ripa is not going to be good enough to save it. And Fives tries to get the pin, but the tick damage of the Blizzard is enough to take down the Reinhardt. And IUPUI, I'm not sure that this is the adaptation they needed.
Also, somebody in chat pointed this out. Thank goodness I just looked. Yeah, the sides have been flipped this whole time. So we've been praising teams backwards. It's actually IUPUI who's about to secure this round with their nice composition here as the final touch comes through.
Alright, yeah, Fives gets melted there, and now it's Griffins that are the ones that are struggling here on downtown, and it will be IUPUI evening up the score. 1-1 here. We're going to what's it called? The beach. We're going to the beach. We're going to the beach.
Beachfront. Yeah.
We're going to the beach.
We're going to the beach. The coconuts will rain down on whichever team is able to cap this final point here. But yeah, back and forth the compositional picks between these squads, right? On round one, we saw IUPUI. They stuck with the Orisa. Wasn't really, you know, the good pick. Second round, we see a Reinhardt come out. I mean, Fives, I'll give you, you know, a star on the board for bringing out Reinhardt. Absolutely love the hero, but when you're playing into a Mei Sigma that just can constantly keep you away, I mean, you saw so many times you weren't able to close that distance without taking massive amounts of damage. So now, heading into our final point here, Mythos Griffins, they're going to be lacking a Lucio here. They're opting for the Ana Kiri. A lot of healing, but it means this Ana is susceptible to being sort of shot at and poked down from a distance, which is exactly what IUPUI seems to be doing with their still remaining on the poke call.
And Spotted Squid taking this early position. The rock hits DKK, knocks the Sojourn over, but not out. Taking a lot of this damage from every side, it seems like, for Spotted Squid. That shield going back up and down and up and down, trying to cycle it while it loads back in, throws it out. Everything is being thrown into Spotted Squid right now. Not really the backline, and finally Leo Leopard decides, hey, maybe we should be looking at the backline because they're just keeping Spotted Squid up magnificently right now. And Fives maybe overcommitting here into the fight, able to get over the Mei wall, but not going to be able to get out with their they do get out with the mech, as they will go right back in, and it's a trade for Leo Leopard and Potatoizer. The fight continues, and it just never stops.
Yeah, I mean, the fights never seem to end here, but 4v4 already with the control being in IUPUI's favor, you have to imagine they feel at the advantage. That being said, though, a little bit of an over-aggression from the Lucio means the sound barrier is out now.
Sound barrier from Teddy Graham to keep this fight going as strong as possible, but Fives has to use the self-destruct to remech and gets two with it in turn. Now it's just desperation touches for IUPUI right now, especially now that Leo has this nano boost online and able to take down Potatoizer, able to take down Teddy Graham and Lupin. I mean, 2-for-1 special there for Leo, and Mythos Griffins are going to take over here.
Yeah, you know, a bit of investment from them, both support ultimates as well as that Diva Bomb here. Something important to note as well, Fives will not have mech for the start of this next fight. So if, you know, IUPUI can get in here and realize, you know, it's a baby Diva, right? You're already seeing how aggressive they're playing, almost with house money, because, yeah, they can do that exactly.
Fives down here early. The overclock from DKK has to be big. Teddy Graham anteed up very, very low, not able to escape the sights of DKK. It is now 2-for-2 here. Pulse Bomb not going to find a target. Thrown a little bit far there from Leo, while Mythos Griffins continue to put out so much damage. The Blizzard not going to find anyone but Fives, and the follow-up is not there to take Fives out of the mech. Mythos Griffins will leap in front here.
Yeah, and now with, after it's all said and done, right, both these squads having invested a pretty solid amount, you're seeing a lethal combo online here for IUPUI. The Tactical Visor comboed with this Amplification Matrix can do a lot, but I think the biggest fear is Fives, right? That Defense Matrix is going to be able to eat so much of that damage the Soldier 76 is going to want to do. They have to address that threat before really taking advantage of it.
Potatoizer's Tactical Visor through the Amplification Matrix. Going to be nerve-wracking, to say the least, to anybody having to walk in front of it. 80% as Mythos Griffins lose control here. Potatoizer being pressured down by DKK, but that deflect is able to put the Potatoizer down and out of this fight. The May Ice Block and Teddy Graham going to be able to deny the remech of Five's Mythos Griffins. They have to disengage.
Yeah, I mean, that there's no other option for them now. They definitely have lost a hold in this fight unless there's a, Miracle Pit coming through here, and that could be...
Whoa! Leo Leopard throws out the pulse bomb as a last-ditch effort and is able to find two. Now it's IUPUI that is not sure how to keep this fight going. It's Drowsy and Spotted Squid left. Make that just Drowsy as Five gets 2 for their own, and it's just the desperation touches here for IUPUI as they try to get more and more and closer to this overtime. The Nano Boost out on to DKK as they're able to take down Potatoizer and Teddy Graham, and Mythos Griffins, after the heroics of Leo, are going to be able to flip this point.
Yeah, but I mean, there's plenty enough time here for IUPUI to get in with a solid touch, right? They have the sound barrier, they have a blizzard they can chuck onto the point as well, and if Spotted Squid lives long enough, this Gravitic Flux is sure to cause massive damage.
Dragon Blade is out. The response is an Immortality Field and a sound barrier. Nothing for the Blade there, but those cooldowns and ultimates are so important. Fives, just before getting this... Wow, just before getting the self-destruct, loses the mech, but because Leo has built up another pulse bomb, used another pulse bomb, got another pulse bomb kill, this fight is over here. Spotted Squid goes down, and Mythos Griffins will not let history repeat here. It won't be a sweep. They're taking map number 1.
Yeah, they, want their revenge against IUPUI, and they've seen that they've sort of figured things out, right? Obviously, maybe a little bit of tomfoolery occurring downtown, but they're able to clean it up in the end here, and yeah, I mean, just some phenomenal execution play, as well as some clutch mechanics coming out. I mean, Leo with that, several massive pulse sticks constantly. It really is, that X factor you could use in a team fight. Having a Tracer to be able to do that, not just once, but reliably to sort of bail you out of situations where there's no guarantee you're at a disadvantage. It really, really can just help a team, propel them to the next level.
Yeah, and I think everybody stepped up on Mythos Griffins a bit there on Samoa. It did feel like Fives, right? Just like we were talking about with the pulse bombs time after time, there were a couple of times when Fives just kind of took over the fight as well. Namely, that self-destruct that really wasn't intended to get any kills. Killed 2 anyway. It was just a remech self-destruct. Fives came in clutch a few times, and that's the thing, right? Is that you can't rely on one person to always do everything for you. That it's just not sustainable. So, I mean, Mythos Griffins have got multiple places where they can say, "Hey, we need to make a play," and it's not just saying, "Hey, Fives, go make a play." It's not just saying, this person go make a play. Everybody on the side of Mythos Griffins came in a clutch at some point.
Yeah, and it obviously. That scrappiness, it's not how you want to win, but a win is a win at the end of the day. And being able to show up on IUPUI's map pick, right? I mean, they came down from lower bracket, or upper bracket, I should say. So they got the first map pick of Samoa, and it didn't go their way here. So, as we're heading on into hybrid, you have to start to wonder if you're IUPUI, where do you want to go exactly, right? I mean, do you favor yourselves in sort of a brawl situation? Do you favor yourselves, potentially looking towards a dive, right? And I mean, the hybrid maps we have in the pool, there's options for that. We can talk about, whether it's gonna be the Hollywood or Paradiso. Honestly, like, we haven't seen Paradiso. I don't think any team in any bracket has picked it. I think it'd be fun just to pick it. You know what I mean?
I think there's a reason the teams have not picked it, and it's because they don't have fun on it.
Come on, it's fun. It's fine. It's fine. There's just
think
some oppressive high ground.
You're just biased because y'all share a color scheme. All right.
You're not supposed to tell them that.
Yeah. I don't know. Nobody likes it. I feel like that's like the popular opinion is that Paraiso is not a great map, but yeah. I don't know if we've got the map pick coming in soon or what's happening. A little bit of a delay. Okay, it'll be Eichenwald coming in for map number 2. That's the basic map pick for sure.
Ooh, it's boring.
It's the Nepal of hybrid for sure.
Pick something better. Nah, I'm just playing around. I mean, yeah, you said it best, right? It's become the sort of bread and butter for a lot of these squads, Kings Row isn't in the pool, you substitute it with a little bit of Eichenwald, right? You know how Eichenwald's gonna play. First point, you can get a little bit spammy, a little bit creative. Second point, it's all about, carrying from the castle, containing that high ground. Third point, if you end up getting there, you're more back into a brawl situation with both teams just slamming their heads into each other, trying to find out what's happened. Oh, it seemed okay. Eichenwald's back.
Eichenwald never existed. It was the friends we made along the way.
Eichenwald genuinely just vanished from existence there. Don't worry about that. Also, I think, honestly, would I regret doing this? Yes, but at the same time, I'm here to have fun. Everybody should thank Headrammer for our lovely production package that has Eichenwald with the extra E on the end. I don't think it's his fault, but I think it'd be funny to blame him anyway.
Hey, we love Headrammer. He's our Viking king.
Yeah,
right?
we do.
He's our Viking.
The Viking
king. He's my
king.
Viking king.
I was gonna say your Viking king, man. I don't know if you can speak for everybody, but
no, he's CGL's Viking king. All right. But as we get into Eichenwald, we'll see what these teams are gonna roll out on. And IUPUI, they're not gonna change up too much. Teddy Graham will be on the Zenyatta for that extra little bit of damage output at the expense of a little bit of healing and speed. And Mythos Griffins, that's a very, very traditional dive.
Yeah, and IUPUI, they're opting into the full experience of the poke composition, right? Something's gonna get discorded, and then from 5 different angles, damage will convert to blow the target up. Meanwhile, Mythos Griffins, they're gonna blow it up a different way, right? You're gonna see the Tracer sort of set things up, be like, hey, there's a target over here we can jump on, and you'll see the Genji dash, the monkey jump in, all of it, conglomerate at once here to result in picks. And really, I mean, both teams, it's going to be sort of interesting to see who can execute their style first.
All right, here we go. Map number 2, Eichenwald up. Mythos Griffins playing it patient. Well, everyone except for Leo, I guess that is. Or that DKK that was in there. It doesn't matter because Fives is not. Just gets exploded with that Discord orb from Teddy Graham, and now it's the collapse on to Mythos Griffins as Teddy Graham makes DKK eat boot. Teddy Graham makes Leo Leopard eat boot, and I guess rather Sandal. But Mythos Griffins, they go in and are out as fast as they got in.
I'm actually curious. Is it technically a sandal if you're a monk? Is that, or do they get like a special name for that now?
He's wearing a sandal.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, as you described, the dive it instantly imploded. Mythos Griffins now making an adaptation. Mox back on over to the Ana here, potentially trying to make it so you don't do just that.
Yeah. That Discord and Fives was like 25% HP before they jumped, and now making the adaptation to D.Va, probably the right pick.
Yep, that defense matrix going to help so that HP pool doesn't just evaporate simply for existing here. Nice little sleep managed to connect onto Dizzy somewhere, and as well as an anti, but I don't know if the cleanup's going to be there with the immortality field being in place.
Is DMAC again, or I guess not again, but DMAC. Now Leopard has to try and make a play over on this off angle. Will do just that. Pulse Bomb out, and Leopard coming in clutch here for a couple of picks. Good for it, as this fight concludes with Mythos Griffins taking the point.
Yeah, and I mean, they did it without their diva mainly for that fight, right? It was just another situation of without that mech, you're not doing a whole heck of a lot. But, you know, that follow-up was there from Leo as well as DKK. Both those, you know, dive DPS, they removed the backline first, then they followed up onto the DPS. Beautiful play coming out from then here. Going to be, you know, interesting to see how this assault on the castle goes, because again, right, the Poke can sort of just play the high ground, even though I think I just saw Drowsy roll off onto the low. I'm not sure. No, they're back up there.
No,
I'm just seeing
yeah,
things.
I think that they just kind of disappeared off the screen briefly as Fives is VMAX again. Rifa's dead, and through that Am Matrix, Mythos Griffin's just not fast enough to react to it. They get evaporated.
Yep, and, you know, it's more of the same that we saw, right? And so you're sort of relying on a rotation to come through here from Mythos Griffins, right? You're going to have to use that Diva Defense Matrix to sort of shepherd everybody into the castle. Then once you're there, it's going to be a daunting assault up this staircase, but you have a Nano Blade online to do it with. You just got to worry about Teddy Graham's Transcendence, because it's going to be a lot of healing to cut through.
Blade is out. Teddy Graham is down, cut in half by the blade. DKK going nuts. Gonna go down. Actually, that nano boost saved their life there. DKK avoiding death to that gravitic flux, and IUPUI will not be able to keep Mythos Griffins away for any longer.
I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't know where the Transcendence was from Teddy Graham. I guess ultimately deciding, nah, we can just kill a Nano Blade. Not as easy as you think, but you'll have it for this next fight almost as an engage tool, which could be nice. As for the payload, you know, it's making its way towards the end here, so, you know, IUPUI, you gotta get out here. You gotta get onto the cart.
It is the Tactical Visor out from Potatoizer. As they find only one kill here for IUPUI. Make that 2 DKK and Mox down to the hands of IUPUI, and the defense will hold strong here for IUPUI. Yeah.
You know, very interesting defensive fight. I thought it was going Mythos Griffin's favor, but they got the picks, you know, off their raw damage to come through, and now they're going to be able to hold this, you know, castle high ground once again here, just looking for anybody trying to sneak their way through back to the payload. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be, you know, happening for free here, right? You have everybody watching from the castle. Nobody's going to be able to, like, you know, flank behind you without you physically seeing it. I mean, IUPUI, they're set up in a good position.
Rotate down to the main door of the castle here and drop Leo Leopard pretty easily there. There's very little backline pressure now for Mythos Griffins. The skill orb thrown out by Rifa as they back out. It's just eaten up by Spotted Squid, and Mythos Griffins, they're just going to chill out here and wait for their tracer to return.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do, right? And once Leo's back in the fight, you can try to get in there. You'll have a nano boost you can throw onto your diva, make Fives just that much more sustainable and much more brawly, but a Flux first.
Gravitic Flux out, and yeah, it's not going to get deflected there for DKK. The nano boost was in there for the diva, but not going to find anything with it, especially because they had to use the self-destruct, and I don't know if y'all know this, but self-destruct and nano boost do not pair well together.
Yeah, not exactly what you want here. Mox heading over to the Zen now, just as sort of a... they're actually pivoting to a full, you know, poke-esque mirror here. With DKK being the only thing really sticking over, so you're going to see that blade, you know, starting to come online here, but it's going to be going into a tactical visor from Potatoizer, especially because Lupin has that amplification matrix, try to back up that soldier, make it just that much more potent. It's going to be interesting to see here as we're entering what could be final fight.
Oh, DKK eats a Helix rocket from Potatoizer, turned into mush there as the tactical visor through the nano, or not the nano, but the amp matrix, going to find a target, and there's just no way that anybody can touch that cart in the face of those two powerful ultimates, and, you know, a great defense there from IUPUI.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous here. First point, you had to let it slip eventually, but you almost think of first point kind of like you'd think of those old 2CP maps, right? First point, it's a dream to hold it, but you're set up in a position where you're just not favored. The enemy can eventually burst through purely off of like an old numbers advantage. But yeah, I mean, they defended the high ground well. They cycled back to cart when they needed to, and really, IUPUI, they set themselves up with a very achievable goal here to tie up the series. Mythos Griffins, though, I mean, we've seen that they're willing to adapt, especially if they're going to go over to this sort of mirrored poke style as well. I mean, we're going to have to see how IUPUI, they struggle. Well, not necessarily struggle. Maybe they could break through it, but it's going to be them sort of trying to break through on their offense here in the same exact way we saw Mythos Griffins. They failed for a bit. They had to sort of keep making adaptations till they found the thing that stuck.
Hey, in IUPUI, they're going to change it up a little bit here on their attack as Mythos Griffins are going to stay on the Sigma. This is going to be interesting. This is a really, really traditional looking rush comp with the Junker Queen. So I'm interested to see how they rock out with the Queen. As we get started here on their attack, they have a goal in mind to keep Mythos Griffins away from match point. They're going to rotate around the left side of the tower. The knife not going to find a target there for Spotted Squid as they try to rotate all the way around. The Wraith forms forced by Potatoizer there, and they have to play safe through this thing, and that's not exactly a great place to fight a Sigma if you have to, and because of all the damage that Fives was able to do there in that little area, Mythos Griffins are going to be able to stonewall them for a little bit.
Yeah, they kind of just got caught off guard, so now, it's, sort of the shoe being on the other foot, right? Mythos Griffins having that perfect poke composition, and at IUPUI, they have to find a way to answer and close this distance. They're seeming to rely off of the May wall for the time being, which obviously, that's the way their comp is built. That's the only thing they have, but having to expend it early there, you're not even on the objective yet. There's still many ways you could get poked out.
Alright, so the fake around the left side there for IUPUI gets them a kill on to Ripa. They did lose Teddy Graham, so they don't have the speed anymore. Potatoizer gets a free TP on to this high ground, and Mox isn't very scared, but maybe should have been a little bit more cautious, to say the least. DKK able to pop Spotted Squid, but the damage has already been done by IUPUI here. They're going to get a couple of ticks. They might get a touch, but it would be desperate at the most, and the point will go over to IUPUI.
Yeah, and it sucks. Fives just invested that Gravitic Flux trying to be a hero, only ended up picking up Teddy Graham, who could just naturally heal their way through it. So, IUPUI, they've set themselves up in an amazing position here. They're building up towards a plethora of ults to get a good snowball rolling. Really, the only advantage Mythos Griffins has right now is the fact that, they're going to have both of these hit scan ultimates that are going to be refiring from the high ground. Nobody able to close, get up there and mitigate that damage for free.
All right, IUPUI, they're just playing under the cover of the little platform, I guess, hiding from those hit scans from the high ground, and just trying to get this free push as far as it will take them. Oh, okay, that hurt. Mox going to or DKK rather, trying to find something with this overclock. As Spotted Squid, the only one, did not get that. Wow. That Blizzard is what we in the industry call a juicer.
Yeah, and, it's, again, this advantage that they have. You're seeing Ice Block be forced out as DKK. Just decides I'm going to die with the rest of my team. And now, IUPUI, they still have more tools in the bank to work with to try to keep this momentum building, but Mythos Griffins finally building up to some stuff themselves. Gold support ultimates online here. That means they have a lot of sustainability and a lot of ways to sort of combat this defense.
Okay. Oh, saved by map geometry. Potatoizer used the Death Blossom, got rock, sent off the map. Fives is mad about that. And that will do it for this map, unless this Gravitic Flux finds 7. The answer is actually 0 in this case. And IUPUI, Bastion's OF, they're going to even up the score in this series.
Finally, a diamond game that doesn't end in a 3-0. I've been waiting for this, but yeah, both these squads, pushing each other against the grain, making each other feel it. But these comp mismatches are really starting to, tell the story more than anything else. It's sort of, showing the difference between these two squads, who's adaptable, who isn't. And, more of those adaptations need to come through faster if you really want to see, potentially that continued back and forth. But that last map, I feel like there was most of the time that Bastion OS was really just in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I mean, they looked a lot stronger, a lot more comfortable there on Eichenwald. And, it was their map pick. So, they're able to get the win there, which is always nice. You don't ever like to see a team losing their map pick out. It never feels very good. So, it won't be a sweep, which, hallelujah for that, right? But we will have to go to a break here for just a few minutes, and when we come back, we'll see where Mythos Griffins are going to take us, and how the rest of this series will conclude. So stick around; it's going to get interesting. All right, welcome back, everybody. We finally got a series on our hands here in the Diamond Tier playoffs, a match that is not 3-0. 3 Overwatch is dead and buried in the Diamond Tier, at least for right now. Going into map number 3, we've got Flashpoint. It is going to be Suravasa as a Mythos Griffins map pick.
Yeah, and I mean, is anybody surprised? Like, it's just, if you've seen CGL, right, I mean, teams, they just favor Suravasa, right? New Junk City, it gets its pick here or there. It gets a little fun, a little creative, but it's just such a better layout here on Suravasa in terms of our 2 Flashpoint maps. So I don't, blame teams in the slightest for wanting to pick this one over and over again. That being said, though, I mean, it really is sort of another map where there's even footing. So even though it's a Mythos Griffins map pick, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're favored here, especially considering the fact, we've seen a lot of poke from both of these squads, but this is predominantly a rush map here, so we'll finally see a solid rush head-to-head, and Mythos Griffins, I mean, they're going to be falling back to their Zarya rush style. I mean, it can work out, but when that Junker Queen gets in your face, especially with a Mei and a Reaper being the things to back it up, Fives is going to have a rough time on this map.
Yeah, and it's going to be really, really interesting. I mean, Zarya, it just doesn't get a whole lot of value if you don't get the charge, right? That seems like a basic thing, but there's a lot of thought that goes into how Zarya's bubbles are used right now, especially with Overwatch 2 Zarya being the way that she is. So I'm really interested to see, does Fives get that value that I know Zarya can get as we get into the market. It is IUPUI that have taken the early positioning with the help of the speed from Spotted Squid and Teddy Graham. The shout is out from Spotted Squid as they are able to find the speed, find the kills, find all of that damage, and they'll find the first flip.
Yep, and they'll do it after getting those solid picks here. You're seeing just the power of the Junker Queen, right? That shout, helping the entire team get aggressive and give that extra level of sustainability here. Fives is able to escape with their life, though, so potentially hanging on to some charge here that they can carry over into this next fight.
Fives not letting that aggression from IUPUI get to them right now. Has incredibly high charge right now and has a great pick onto Teddy Graham. The speed is gone for a second anyway, as Spotted Squid does use the commanding shout, who is also very, very low. But Fives walled off. Fives dead. It's a trade of the tanks here as Leo Leopard is behind the enemy right now. They're trying to keep everybody up and healthy on the side of IUPUI, but the surrounding of IUPUI means that there's just nothing that they can do. Can't look in every direction at once.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's not physically possible for anyone to do that here. Getting up to final fight territory, 94% though for IUPUI, so they just have to come in, get one flip, and they'll be good to go. But that is easier said than done. Of course, Mythos Griffins, they have a full bank of ultimates to work with. We're talking a Graviton Surge, an Overclock, a Kitsune Rush. They can really just sort of chuck whatever they want to into this next fight and come away with an easy win.
Right, Graviton being looked for, hits 4, pulse bombs out, he gets 3 for Leo Leopard. The big thing is good for 3 picks and 50% for Mythos Griffins. Now, Bastion OF, they still have a lot of gas in the tank.
Yeah, they're gonna get another fight here as long as they're not too slow leaving their spawn rooms here. Mythos Griffin did expend a lot. The Graviton comboed with the Pulse was nice, but the Kitsune Rush may be the cherry on top you didn't really need. Now heading in here, it's gonna be crucial for Fives to hang on to both of these, bubbles here in order to try to cleanse the anti that's gonna come out from the Junker Queen Rampage.
All right, overclocked from the DKK. There's so much in the hands of Bastion OF right now. The Rampage hits 3, and the Death Blossom to follow it up will lock the market in the way of IUPUI.
A heavy investment, but it's almost worth it, right? Because, Mythos Griffins, they threw the rest of their tools into that. They start out with the overclock. DKK can't come up with the goods before Teddy Graham takes them out. And then Mox gets Ajax, unfortunately. because of that Death Blossom. So now sprinting over to Temple to make sure that they can continue their momentum, have this forward positioning, and really just sort of continue to set the pace here. Mythos Griffins, they have to find a response, and that's a good way to start.
Yep, Teddy Graham goes down early here. You see the boot from Mox, not quite able to get anyone off the map. But that's just an awful position for Drowsy to be in. Once again, surrounded by the enemy team. No chance to get out there. It is a good pick onto fives, but a good pick is all it will be. There will be some reinforcements coming from Teddy Graham, but as it stands, Mythos Griffins, they have the numbers, but that will not last forever. Pulse Bomb is out from Leo Leopard, somehow able to get Teddy Graham taken down. Did not use the recall, and IUPUI, they've lost Teddy Graham again, but they'll hold on to the point for now.
So hold on to the point, but it is going to be another re-engage here from Mythos Griffins. More sloppy fights means faster ult builds, but you're seeing already Drowsy trying to hide, to get this May wall down and can throw the Blizzard whenever they want.
Big May wall there from Drowsy, and they're not quite able to save the life of fives. The Blizzard is massive. Both supports turned into a popsicle, and IUPUI continue to roll through this point.
So close to a Graviton. Fives decides it's important to give it up, though, and head on over to that Junker Queen themselves, realizing Spotted Squid might have just found the answer for the time being. DKK also going to head on over off that Sojourn onto the Sombra now, but really, with how tightly IUPUI is playing on top of each other, it's going to be hard to find a valuable hack.
All right, the Blizzard, or the wall rather, is big. Death Blossom good for 2 more on the Potatoizer's repertoire there. I mean, a great Death Blossom to put this point away. It's just Leo Leopard and IUPUI are on match point.
Map point here, yeah, it's going to be... don't worry, we're not on the match just yet. No 3-0s, we promised. But... I mean, yeah, and they have the momentum to keep it rolling here, right? Sure, they're heading on all the way over to Palace, so it's going to be a little bit rough, but you have to remember, this is on their side of the map, so technically Mythos Griffins having to make that same trek means that they're going to meet on the point here, and really, IUPUI, they still have tons of tools to work with. This Rampage can absolutely do work again here for Spotted Squid.
All right, the Kitsune Rush has been invested by Rippa, and Leo Leopard comes nuclear again. The Pulse Bomb gets 2, and the Rampage is stopped by Leo Leopard. 3 for the Tracer, and the first flip on Palace will go to Mythos Griffins.
Yeah, I mean, that Pulse Bomb really came up clutch. Sure, they had other tools in the bank, like the Sound Barrier, but knowing that they were able to hang on to that one because of that Pulse Bomb, I mean, it's something you really need from your DPS. It's almost another level they can step up to here. IUPUI, they're now going to attempt to push in, probably with their own Kitsune Rush, if I imagine, but the longer they wait, the closer we get towards more ultimates here, specifically DKK's EMP is what I'm worried about.
Sound barriers out from Rippa in the face of Lupin's Kitsune Rush. DKK, waiting in the wings for this EMP. 5 hit by the EMP, and 5 will go down. And 5 throws out the Rampage. Maybe not even needed, but they're going to lock up this fight anyway, and almost a point.
Yeah, and so now, especially with Drowsy drawing incredibly late there, it means that there's more than likely not going to be a recontest here from IUPUI, so Mythos Griffins, they're not ready to go down without a fight here on Servasa, and yeah, you're already seeing both these squads, make some rotations over to where they predict the next point's going to be, but it seems as though the rotations are going to favor Mythos Griffins. We're heading back over to Garden next, and yeah, it's just going to be another sort of similar situation. This time Mythos Griffins, they flip the script, they get there first, and Leo again is just waiting in the wings with another Pulse Bomb. I feel like every single time we've looked towards Leo in this series, there's been a Pulse Bomb online.
Alright, and they're hungry for those kills. The hack's gonna come out onto Spotted Squid. Shout by 5, shout by Spotted Squid. Death Blossom coming out. This time Potatoizer will not find that damage, but able to just walk down 5s, not scared even a little bit in IUPUI. They got there late, but they'll get the flip.
Yeah, and now with a massive flip here, IUPUI, again, they're just firmly in control, but they have expended all of their resources here. You know, Leo still holding onto that pulse bomb, and Rippa getting ever closer to another Kitsune Rush is going to give Mythos Griffins, you know, just all of that space creation potential here, but they have to capitalize.
He wants this pulse bomb. He wants it bad. The Kitsune Rush going to be good from Rippa to push IUPUI back, and Leopard is good for one here at the very least. Trying to find something else, but Drowsy has other ideas. Punch in the face there by the May. The fight will continue though. The trades keep coming through. The shout from Spotted Squid, you know, almost has the rampage if they want to invest it here. Now does from 5, but the pillar is the, the MVP for IUPUI is the pillar. Teddy Graham is able to take, oh goodness, DKK, and IUPUI, despite whatever the hell just happened to Spotted Squid, they're gonna win the map. It's over.
I am just like, my mouth is open and agape. There's so much that happened in that fight after the fact that I didn't process, because like let's call the elephant in the room. Fives. You can't slam an entire rampage of movement into a pillar. Just the most unfortunate placement for that ultimate. It really kind of spelled out what was happening there. As IUPUI, they head up 2-1 in the series, now on match point. I don't even know what to say. That caught me so far off guard, it just has me bamboozled right now.
You know, there was a little bit of I think separation that we hadn't seen on the first 2 maps there. IUPUI, I felt like from start to finish, were the better team on Saravasa, especially on the Junker Queen. You know, obviously, Mythos Griffins, they started to look better once they switched over to the Junker Queen, but that's not really something that you can take and extrapolate into other maps, because Junker Queen is just kind of better on Saravasa than she is on any other map. Flashpoint in general, I guess. So, you know, some mistakes were tragic, and you gotta just get over it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're Mythos Griffins, it happens. You've got your map pick coming up here for push. You have to be able to forget the shenanigans, right? And
Yeah,
as
exactly.
hard as that sounds, it's so important. You just got to move forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm also speechless about what just happened.
It's fine. Mental reset here. Your back's against the wall if you're Mythos Griffins, right? Elimination on the line. You want to get yourselves to that map 5, and it's just a question of how exactly do you do it, right? You have your free pick of the push maps here, and you know there's a lot of merit to picking all 3 of them, right? I think based on our Junker Queen mirror here and just IUPUI looking a lot more comfortable on the brawl, I would lean away from a Coliseum. That's just not where I would want to go or anything like that. Then you sort of weigh your options, right, between the new Queen Street and Esperanza. And I think of Esperanza as a lot more of a dive map, right? You can sort of make things like the dive work here. And Mythos Griffins, they showed that keenness to try to play the dive, especially on Eichenwald. It didn't ultimately work out for them because they were playing into a poke composition. But poke, it's a lot more difficult to run. There's not as many safe places for the Zenyatta to sit there on Esperanza. So that's what I'm expecting the map pick to come through. If we see that return to form for Mythos Griffins to get that dive, because I mean, if you have a great tracer like Leo on your team, just play dive every time. You know what I mean? That's just something you can execute in most situations and just feel fine about.
Yeah. We do know where we're going, and it's going to be New Queen Street. But yeah, I do think that the most consistent player, at the very least, on the side of Mythos Griffins has been Leo. I think you gotta lean into what you're doing well. and that is the Tracer, especially right now. And yeah, I wouldn't be mad about seeing like a dive or maybe even a poke, I guess, coming out from Mythos Griffins here. I don't know if, like you said, the rush is the answer here, but there's a certain level of mental fortitude that you've got to have.
Yeah,
You know,
I expect them to
gotta
have it.
You got to, yeah. I mean, it's not even just the mistakes, right? Because you're on match point. This is your season on the line. This is everything for this team, and you know that's a lot of pressure, right? You need to be able to get over that pressure. And the way I say it, it makes it sound super easy to just say, nah, nothing matters anymore. And it's not easy to do that. So for Mythos Griffins, I need to see them play confident, because once they got behind there on Saravasa, it just kind of felt like they lost the plot.
Yeah, and you know, it's a very momentum-based game mode, kind of like Push is here, but we know they can start on the right side of that 8-ball, and they could get, you know, that momentum building themselves, right? This isn't a squad that is completely down and out. They definitely have the power, but, I mean, Bastion OF, they're really, you know, stepping up to that extra level that we need from them, right? It's not even necessarily, like, individual plays that are setting them, you know, head and shoulders above. It's just their coordinated team play. They're all working in tandem with each other. Their ults are, you know, being synced up, their abilities, their cooldowns, all just sort of helping each other, you know, achieve this great level of success that we're seeing for them right now. It's the reason that they're on match point. And, you know, meanwhile, Mythos Griffins, you know, they have those individual pop-up moments, but they have to remember how to gel as a team, how to connect with each other. And if they're able to do that, then I fully see us going to a map 5.
Yeah, I mean, they've won their map pick, right? So hopefully they can extrapolate that even further. I think that they've got the skill. I definitely do. Mythos Griffins are a good team. I mean, you don't go 7-1 for nothing, right? These teams that you're playing and beating, they're not giving you the wins for free. You have to earn those. You know, obviously, unless there's a forfeit or something like that. But I don't think that all of their wins were forfeits.
Yeah, no, I don't think
Mythos
so
Griffins,
either.
they've got the capability to pull this out here. Back against the wall, back against the cliff, even falling all the way down is definitely a potential outcome here for Mythos Griffins. They need to stand strong.
And I fully expect them to stand strong. You know, this is definitely a squad that shouldn't crack under this level of pressure. And, you know, that fire can be the thing that, you know, elevates you to the next level here. Mythos Griffins, they're at least in the spawn room right now, hovering a Junker Queen composition here. And I like this level of confidence, really. Just shows that how... You know, even though they necessarily didn't look the best on it, they did pivot to it late there on Saravasa. The fact they're willing to mirror, you know, potentially mirror it again really shows that they have faith in themselves, which is good. IUPUI, though, throwing out a completely different look. It's going to be more of a poke style, but they're going to have a Bastion in tow, as well as, you know, again, we're back onto this Baptiste, and it really is just going to be a lot of spam and poke damage coming out from IUPUI.
All right, here we go. Wall is out from Drowsy to cut Fives off, but somehow Fives, if Fives is alive for the time being, Spotted Squid trying to jump onto DKK, who's able to get out with about half HP. The Wall not going to find a target this time again. The rock hitting the Junker Queen in the face, but the picks are even right now as the fight continues to rage here. DKK needs to find something with this railgun. The Lupin is so damn low, but Fives even lower. No health for the Junker Queen, no life for DKK, and Mythos Griffins are going to lose on the first step here.
Yeah, and so already with that bot pushing in their favor, IUPUI, they're looking confident, they're looking calm, but, you know, you're going to be able to set up here Mythos Griffins, you know, potentially have your Sojourn just kind of rain down from this high ground, and it gives your Ana a safe place to play as well here. Five is going to be mirroring the Sigma as well here. It's going to be a lot of space creation, but I like the adaptation.
All right. Potato Eyes are able to drop Mox early, and that's a great pick for IUPUI, and Potatoizer continues to just rip Mythos Griffins apart in 2 fights. They've already got the checkpoint.
Yeah, a lot of momentum, a full head of steam, if you will, being built up here for Bash and OF as they just wait for T51 to complete that butt scratch here. That accretion very nicely put here. Drops Spotted Squid low. They have to find that follow-up, though.
Gravitic Flux out because they know that... Okay. I was like, that was such a strange interaction there. Leo Leopard did drop that duplicate, but with the Blizzard from Drowsy freezing up 5s, there's just nothing that, you know, Mythos Griffins can do. They're just trying to find any in, but they're not being given any.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely great play from IUPUI. They're not giving an inch in the slightest here, even knowing that they're down members right now, just to Bash and Lucio and Sigma here before finally, you know, giving up this bot progress just a little bit. And by that, I mean they're contesting right around the area of the checkpoint, so they still have all of this space in the world before a proper fight can happen.
Potatoizer looking for anything here. The Gravitic Flux, the sound barrier thrown out. DKK trying to find a target with the overclock. Looking for Spotted Squid, not able to find it. Lucky that there was a crack in the wall there. The Bastion ultimate going to come out here from Potatoizer, not going to find a target, but did force a couple of cooldowns to try and get away. Spotted Squid, very low, very dead. Not going to be able to get out with their life here, but 5s and Leo Leopard and well, I said 5s. 5's the last one to go down with the exception of Mox, but Mythos Griffins, even without their Sigma, able to stay composed.
Yeah, and now, I mean, that stagger on the Mox is brutal, right? Because it means that even though Spotted Squid is going to be a while before returning to the fight, it means that more bot progress can happen here for IUPUI as they're just continuing to push further and further into enemy territory. And really, I mean, Mythos Griffins, they're already on the back foot by so much, but it's just getting harder and harder with each passing second.
All right, Spotted Squid has returned to the fight. This Ant Matrix going to be devastating potentially for Mythos Griffins. The damage being output by Potatoizer kept in check very, very well. And finally, with the Gravitic Flux of Leo Leopard coming out and going down, they're going to be able to stabilize. And finally, Mythos Griffins are going to be able to put their foot down, win a fight.
Yep, and this is going to be the start of a, you know, a massive amount of fights in a row here to try to match that meterage. 108 meters, you know, respectable distance, but they have tools to keep the momentum going. They have this amplification matrix online already up to a coalescence as well here. 5's getting so close to another Gravitic Flux, but trapped on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, very, very good immortality field from Mox to keep the Sigma alive. Gravitic Flux is out from Spotted Squid. A lot of damage onto 5s as they try to keep this fight going and take down the Sigma. Not able to do so as Spotted Squid puts DKK in the blender as the rest of the team is falling around Spotted Squid. Drowsy and Spotted Squid, the only ones left here.
Yeah, and Leo Leopard just constantly being a thorn in the back line, now on the Echo instead of Tracer, but still achieving the same effect and results here. That's exactly what you need. And now, you know, the forward spawns have been officially reset, and Mythos Griffins have won that first crucial fight here. There will probably be one more before this checkpoint can get unlocked for them, but again, they're able to hold on to a lot of their tools, both DPS ultimates, a Gravitic Flux to boot. Really, I mean, they should be able to clean this one up as long as they don't get caught up in Drowsy's Blizzard.
Ooh, a great rock by 5s. Unfortunately, they can't follow up the damage, but 5s gets a little too aggressive. The overclock got to come out from DKK, but it's too little, too late, as the Blizzard from Drowsy is able to stop any semblance of progress that Mythos had made.
I mean, yeah, it shuts it down so effectively, and so now it is going to be another situation of IUPUI getting the forward spawns here, and that's just going to be tacking on extra fights here that Mythos Griffins has to win before they can even worry about trying to continue, you know, worry about matching this, you know, meterage progress here. You're seeing, you know, IUPUI, they pushed up just to get the forward spawn.
Yep. Gravitic Flux out from Fives, and Spotted Squid just decides, you're not gonna get that ultimate off, man. Not in my face. Coalescence from Rippa has to be big. The Ice Block is popped by Drowsy. Oh, Rippa is able to take out Teddygram, but Drowsy is the only one left, apparently.
Ooh, and I mean, this fight being turned massively here for Mythos Griffins. I mean, I really thought they lost it, but, you know, Leo Leopard again with the, you know, the fact that healers were alive was enough. Coming up clutch once again here now. This Echo has more work to do with another duplicate under their belt. Potentially trying to find another Gravitic Flux from a dupe on the Sigma here, but it's going to be, you know, probably pressured out a lot here because there's just this identification of realizing the Echo is the problem.
2 Fluxes in a row, both canceled by the opposing Sigma. Great rock there from Fives to cancel out the ultimate of Spotted Squid, and now Mythos Griffins are on the back foot. IUPUI, or not Mythos Griffins on the back foot, it's IUPUI on the back foot. Mythos Griffins, they unlock the checkpoint.
They get the checkpoint as well as Fives getting that pick there means that this momentum can keep on building as T51 does that little butt scratch thing. Leo drops low, but able to stay alive. IUPUI, though, has the tools for a good re-engage here.
Blizzard eaten up by Fives, but the numbers are not in the favor of Mythos Griffins. I mean, they're just going down. It was a great way to start the fight. Finish, not so much.
No, unfortunately, is not in Mythos Griffins. I mean, they had a beautiful, you know, mitigation there onto the male, but they just could not survive the storm that was being thrown at them. Lupin had that amplification matrix potatoizer, just shooting so many bullets through it here. Now with an artillery strike in the back pocket, Mythos Griffins still trying to build up towards, you know, their ultimates here. It really is, you know, starting to look more and more in IUPUI's favor. They just have too much momentum built behind them.
The airstrike out from Potatoizer, and there will be no answer from Mythos Griffin. Spotted Squid continuing to push this aggression. A lot of HP, a lot of overhealth here. Now the disengage in the face of Rippa's Coalescence is going to be there for a little bit as it fades away. IUPUI are just happy to re-engage now. Leo Leopard trying to help, trying to do anything in the way that can help their Team 5s, able to inadvertently, it seemed like, kill Spotted Squid there. Put Mythos Griffins ahead in the numbers. And finally, they're going to be able to, they're going to find picks, but the trades are great for IUPUI.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that trades are still going on, it's just more and more time bank being burnt. That's something we haven't really acknowledged here, but we're below 20 seconds now. That means that Mythos Griffins, they're only going to get one more crack at this to try to match and pass the meterage set by IUPUI. And obviously, you know, it's going to be difficult, but they have the duplicate. They have that artillery strike. They're just pushing into so many tools from IUPUI. They have to find a way to weather this storm if they want to keep their season alive.
Both teams have some ults in the bank. The amp matrix going to come out, and that will do it. I mean, the duplicate is there for Leo, but nothing is going to come of it. It'll be a different story, but the same ending for IUPUI. Bastion OF, they take down Mythos Griffins one more time for good measure to make sure that they know we are the better team in this playoff, and they will be moving on to the grand finals to take on Cogent.
Yep, a rematch of our upper semis, you know, on the ticket here. Just beautiful gameplay. Obviously, that first map, it felt like Mythos Griffins really had come alive. They'd found some answers, but as the series went on, Fletch, I mean, it was just more and more apparent that IUPUI, they could just, you know, had the better teamwork and cohesion today on the day, and they really were just coming up with the goods time and again. Despite Mythos Griffins having some clutch plays, some clutch factors, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, being clutch is good and all if it comes at a good time, right? And just at the end of the day, Mythos Griffins made some great plays when they had to make some great plays, and they made some great plays when they didn't have to make great plays. But you gotta be able to more consistently, concisely make those plays when it's not like, oh, do or die here. We need to win this. We're gonna go out if we don't get something done here. You know, it's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable to just rely on a clutch factor. You have to have some kind of mid-game, mid-fight sustainability in your head or in your skill or in your, plan if you want to be able to consistently win matches. And IUPUI, they were just better at that today.
Yeah, I mean, the cohesion, it was set up beautifully. We talked about it, just their synergy, anytime that damage came through, everybody was following up on it consistently, and, that's exactly what you want to see from IUPUI, and that's going to give us, another CGL Grand Finals locked in here. Mythos Griffins, it was a fun season, fun to have you. Hopefully we'll see you again, but yeah, I mean, there's more and more Grand Finals being locked in, Fletch, and I feel like, we're finally approaching the end of the season. It really is like this hype time.
Yeah, we're getting down to it. We're getting down to the really, really strong teams are all that is left across CGL, so it'll be a lot of fun. That will do it for this match. We've got another one here, and I think, honestly, the headliner of the matches today, it's going to be Nexus versus Shikigami. In one ear out the other, it felt like, for Shikigami, which, disrespectful to them, my bad. But yeah, I feel like that match is going to be an absolute giga banger. So keep an eye out. We'll be back in 40 minutes? 40 minutes for that match between Nexus and Shikigami. Stick around. We will have our final PC Open Tier winners finalists. It should be a lot of fun.